Hello Oilers fans, Austin here, and in today's video, I wanted to discuss what I think are the four biggest question marks that the Oilers have heading into training camp, which starts today, and I am very, very excited. That means the regular season is very, very close. However, there are question marks. There's always question marks. Every team has the big question marks. What's going on? Who's going to step up on D? Who's going to step up forwards, goaltenders, prospects? There's a ton of question marks, but for Edmonton specifically, there are four main question marks that I wanted to highlight and talk about in today's video. So if you end up enjoying the video, make sure you hit that like button. And if you end up really liking it and you're not yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Task just jumped up on my desk, and I think my cat would love it if you did subscribe. So I'm mostly joking. Anyways, let's get into the video and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as well. What you think the Oilers need to have addressed before the season gets going here. So, four main camp question marks for me. Number one, who plays on the penalty kill? They lost Desharnais, they lost CC, and they added Ty Emberson, at least when it comes to the defensive group. Now, I mentioned CC and Desharnais specifically because they were instrumental in the Oilers' successful penalty kill, especially during the playoffs. Obviously, they have players that could fill on the penalty kill right now that are not CC and Desharnais, and CC and Desharnais weren't like the best penalty killers, but they were instrumental in that penalty kill being as good as it was, and that's a question mark to me. So we will discuss that. Number two, will Darnell Nurse miss significant time and who will replace him? It's been reported that Darnell Nurse likely will not play any preseason games, and if he does, maybe one or two if he's lucky. He's dealing with something that has been lingering since the playoffs, and obviously, we've talked about Darnell Nurse's salary. I'm not worried about the salary. He is obviously worth more on the ice than off the ice for this team, especially with their defensive depth, which we will go over. I'll go over the depth chart. So that's a big question mark to me. Number three, forward depth. Is the bottom six good enough? And number four, is the team fast enough? So let's just jump into the depth chart here. First line, we're projecting Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, and Hyman. Second line, we're projecting Jeff Skinner, Leon Draisaitl, Victor Arvidsson. Third line, you could have Janmark, Henrique, and Brown, just like in the playoffs, or you could have Podkolzin, Henrique, and Brown if Podkolzin shows well. And then fourth line, I have Janmark, Ryan, Perry. And then I have Evander Kane, likely injured, probably on LTIR. We know Evander Kane is probably going to have surgery to deal with that sports hernia, and he is going to miss a significant amount of time. And then I have Matthew Savoy, just kind of penciled in there, maybe a dark horse to possibly push to make the team. Who knows? On defense, I have Ekholm with Bouchard, Kulak with Emberson, Dermott with Stetcher, Brown with Warner, and Darnell Nurse. Obviously, if he's dealing with an injury, he will not be slotted in when the season starts. And then Skinner and Pickard. Obviously, if Darnell Nurse is healthy, and when he's healthy, he would be on the second pairing with Emberson or Stetcher, depending on, the defensive alignment, however Paul Coffey wants to work his D group. So let's go back to the main questions here. Number one, who plays on the penalty kill? I did mention CC and Desharnais. They left, and Emberson is in. Emberson was instrumental in San Jose's penalty kill. He did play the penalty kill in San Jose, so I like him in there. The forward group, obviously, they're missing... or they're not missing. They're going to have players that could step in on the penalty kill, but it's not going to be the same. Janmark and Brown, those are your forwards. McLeod's gone now, so you're not going to have that speed on the penalty kill. You could have Arvidsson penalty kill. Nugent Hopkins, you can have him take faceoffs. Adam Henrique, he'll take faceoffs. So, when it comes to the penalty kill situation, there are personnel that they're going to have to figure out. And with the Darnell Nurse injury, that means Ekholm and Bouchard likely will see penalty kill time as well, more than they usually get. Ekholm, obviously, he's very good defensively, and he does play a lot on the penalty kill. But I think they're going to really rely on him a ton on the penalty kill. Maybe not so much Bouchard, even though Bouchard can play the penalty kill. They're going to want him 5-on-5 and power play, because if Bouchard is also playing penalty kill, that means he's going to be playing 30 minutes a night. Not very sustainable before you head into the playoffs during an 82-game grind. So the penalty kill is an interesting situation. I want to know your thoughts on the penalty kill in the comment section below. Who you think are going to be the main contributors, who you think could be a contributor that maybe weren't last season, and what your thoughts on losing CC and Desharnais are on that penalty kill. Do you think those two had as big of a deal as I'm making it out to me? Just make sure you let me know. Now, my second question was, will Darnell Nurse miss significant time, and who will replace him? I've already touched on that. Brett Kulak likely slots up into the top four. You don't want Brett Kulak playing too much top 4 minutes, though. He is a very serviceable third pairing D-man, and he's obviously showed his worth in the playoffs as well. He seems to play the best in the postseason. But Darnell Nurse, he has a lingering injury, and the fact that it's not fully healed since the playoffs, since June, July, August, September, 3 months removed from the Stanley Cup final. We're almost 3 months removed from Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final, and Darnell Nurse is still not 100%. That is a very bad thing and not very good news. So with Darnell Nurse, he's someone that plays 18 to 22 minutes a night. That is a huge blow if he is not 100%. That's a huge blow to the defensive group, and the defensive depth chart looks terrible. Like, you have to hope that none of these guys get injured. The Oilers last season, they were so lucky with the lack of injuries. They were healthy pretty much all year, or mostly healthy. Very, very few players missed significant time last season. And when you talk about the core group of players, the McDavid, the Draisaitl, the Nugent Hopkins, the Darnell Nurses, Ekholms, Bouchards, like your main drivers on the team, your leadership group, none of them really missed significant time. Yeah, some of them missed a game here or there, but it's not like there were significant injuries that they had to deal with. Darnell Nurse missing significant time right now. That is a very, very big blow to the defensive group. And like I said, when you look at the defensive depth chart, it's not very strong. This defensive group in general is a very big question mark for Edmonton. And if Nurse is not ready to go on night one, and even if he is, but he's not 100%, everyone's going to have to figure this out by committee. Paul Coffey is going to have to work his magic with this defensive group because it's a pretty ugly defensive group. And imagine if Ekholm gets hurt too, or Bouchard. Like, this defensive group is like, you're riding a very, very, very thin line here of being healthy and not being healthy. And if any of these main guys get injured or continue to stay injured, that's not good for Edmonton during the season. And that will affect their performance. That will affect their ability to maintain themselves in a cup contending standings and even make the postseason. So if you're an Oilers fan, we have to hope Darnell Nurse recovers quickly enough to be a huge contributor during the season. Now, number 3, the forward depth. Is the bottom 6 good enough? Obviously, we know Connor Brown struggles last season in the regular season, but in the postseason, he really stepped it up. He really turned it on. I have no issues with Connor Brown. However, the bottom 6 is very old. They're very old and slow. You still have Derek Ryan. Now, Adam Henrique, he's a very good player. He's smart. He doesn't need to be speedy because he knows where to be on the ice. But that bottom 6 group, they're old, they're slow. You have Corey Perry in there as well. They're good players on paper, but when you're playing in a league that continues to get faster and younger, the Oilers' bottom 6 really needs some kind of injection of youth, and the Oilers do not have that injection of youth from the minors that can step up right now. Maybe, like I said, Matthew Savoy is a dark horse. Maybe he can jump up and find a way to get into the lineup. Maybe he can find a way to make the team. Maybe he's not a regular. Maybe he doesn't play every single night, but maybe he makes the team and he's able to jump in periodically on that 3rd or 4th line. Obviously, you want your younger, more skilled players to be able to play top 6 minutes. There's no room in the top 6 with Edmonton right now because of the acquisitions of Jeff Skinner, Victor Arvidsson, and then, of course, you have Draisaitl with McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, and Zach Hyman. But they lost McLeod. They lost Warren Fogle. They lost Dylan Holloway. Those guys were very fast. They were very speedy, and they were good contributors in that bottom 6. So I have no issues with the top 6. They are going to probably outscore a lot of their problems. But Stuart Skinner, he's going to have to really he's going to have to be lights out, and he's going to have to be lights out early. And same with Calvin Pickard. They're going to have to hope Calvin Pickard can duplicate his season last year, hope that wasn't a one-off, and they're going to have to hope that Stuart Skinner can play like he does in games 4 through 7 of a playoff series and not games 1 through 3 of a playoff series during the regular season. They really do need Stuart Skinner to play at a .905 save percentage, closer to maybe even a .910 save percentage consistently. They cannot afford to have him having stinkers on a consistent basis because we already know this team is probably going to have a lot of 6-4, 7-5 type games early in the year too, depending who's injured. Now, I do have faith that Chris Knobloch and Paul Coffey and the coaching staff, that system is going to be in place. They're going to be stingy like they were in the playoffs for the most part, and I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of issues when it comes to their structure, but good structure needs good personnel. And if the personnel is weakened, like a Darnell Nurse injury, a Vander Kane injury, that sort of thing, that can really affect your team. That can really affect your ability to play well as a team in a system. And for Calvin Pickard and Stuart Skinner, goaltending, they have to figure it out. And the team, they're not very fast. This is not a fast team. I think on paper they are a very good team, but they're not fast. And the speedier teams in the Western Conference and maybe even the more physical teams, they are going to assert themselves. And Edmonton, this is not a guaranteed year for Edmonton. Do I think that they are a cup contender? Yes, but anything can happen at any time in the NHL. We see teams overperform all the time. We see teams underperform from where they're supposed to be. The Edmonton Oilers, these are 4 big question marks heading into training camp, and the sooner they get the answers for them, the sooner we'll know where this team will sit during the regular season standings. But I am curious to know all of your thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. And like I said, as always, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you really liked it. If you know any Oilers fans that may enjoy the content, please share this video with them. I love engaging with everyone, especially on other forms of social media. We're going to have so much fun here. I am still getting the Discord set up, and I am getting a hockey pool set up. It will be a free to enter hockey pool. It's mostly going to be for bragging rights. I will have some prizes. And speaking of prizes, I do have to announce the bracket challenge winners and announce prizes for that as well. One person who did win the bracket challenge, he's already reached out to me, and I did promise that I would address this, so I am addressing this right now. Look out for a video announcing an official, prize, and then I'll obviously, have prizes to give away and make sure I contact winners as well. So thank you all so much. Tell someone that you love them, please, and thank you. Fight like a kid, fight like Ben. As always, we'll see you soon, Oil Country. Can't wait for the season to get going here, and I'm very excited the training camp has opened up. Let's go.